Hello. Hi, YouTube. Welcome, 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 everyone. This is Mina Irfan, and I'm a relationship, wealth, and soul mentor. And we're talking about feminine communication and high value femininity today. So let me know where you're watching from, whether you're watching live or in the replay. I am really looking forward to getting to know all the different flavors and lifestyles of femininity that we have in the community. Oh, great. Thank you so much. Someone said hi. I've been really enjoying the frequent uploads. So let's start by sharing with you what do I mean by high value. I've got my notes over here. What do I mean by femininity? And then I also pulled a card for us. So I'll be sharing one of the cards with the intention that it would be for everyone here, for the entire community. So I'm super excited about that. All right, so if you would please give this video a thumbs up and say hi in the comments so I know who's watching, that would be great. All right, so what do I mean by high value? I think that a lot of people, when they come to this whole world of femininity or feminine energy, and I know I made this mistake too, think that femininity or feminine energy is about finding a new way of living and then locking yourself into that. So what they often think it means is that you're going to learn some behaviors, some ways of speaking. Maybe you'll change your dressing. Maybe you're going to change the way that you relate to your partner, which is all a great place to start. But this is not what I mean by high value femininity. And so what's my definition? To me, high value means that you're showing up really authentic and emotionally current and living out, flowing out what that moment requires of you. So it has nothing to do with locking yourself in this elegant kind of femininity or this traditional kind of femininity or that type of femininity or this type of femininity, because that's not what is authentic to you in different moments. And so the way that I define it is that your core, your soul, your real being has a range of femininity that it's here to express. And that's going to look slightly different for every single person based on the soul lessons and your experiences that you're here to uncover. Hello, Marine. It's so nice to have you. And so high value femininity then is not about learning a set of behaviors or skills. It really comes down to the core of what do I need to unlearn? What has been programmed in me, conditioned in me that no longer serves me, no longer serves the life that I'm trying to live, the life that I'm trying to manifest, and the direction in which I'm headed. And this is why you will often hear me say that adult learning is very different than childhood learning. When you're a child, you're like a sponge. Your brain is actually in a state of brain waves that's very similar to hypnosis. That's why we say things like, he or she is a sponge. Your child will pick up everything. So when you're a child, you pick up all of the said things, unsaid things, the subtle clues, the subtle energy switches. So if you asked your parents for something and they looked annoyed, you pick up on all of that and that gets registered in you, right? So you are able to just take in all this new information. When you're an adult, all of that is still in you. So as an adult, when you come into wanting to learn what's running the show behind the scenes, why am I showing up in super high masculine energy where I'm burning myself out, I'm destroying my relationships, I can't manifest the life of my dreams, new information is not going to serve you. You're going to have to release all the old information that is no longer serving you. Okay, so it's about really then femininity, high value femininity really becomes about shedding, releasing, letting go, and awakening to your true purpose that your soul has, decided to incarnate in this 3D physical reality to live out and learn from. Hi, Chelsea, Sabina, Zara, welcome in, ladies. I will be interacting and taking questions and all that after I go through what I want to say here today about high value femininity. So there's no rules when it comes to what you can and can't do in femininity, right? So there's no, like, I hear people saying, if you're a high value feminine woman, you can't curse. If you're a high value feminine woman, you should only wear this. If you're a high value feminine woman, you can only date this man. That's it's coming out of one form of slavery where we have to live and abide by someone else's expectations and rules for us, and then locking ourselves into another form of slavery where we have to get locked into that. So it's really about getting stripped down naked of all of the false belief systems, the cultural systems, the limiting beliefs, the blocks that we have inherited through our own trauma, through our soul's trauma, and then through our ancestral trauma, which is your parents' stuff, your grandparents' stuff, your religion, your culture, all of that stuff that's been layered on top. And this is why if you just started infusing yourself or taking in new information, a lot of that would be sitting on top of all of your limiting beliefs, all of your trauma. So it's not going to really serve you. It's not going to really penetrate through the core, okay? So you have to start healing through all the trauma and then embodying the true you that your soul is here to express. What does that look like? That looks like you being emotionally current. Now, this is a process. It's not like you're going to decide today that you're going to show up emotionally current and be able to do it. If you can, oh my God, I love you. That's fantastic. But most of us have a lot of trauma and limiting beliefs and a lot of stuff that we've gone through, right? Women have gone through a lot of stuff. Not that men haven't either, but my audience is primarily female, so I'm gonna speak to your traumas. And so it's really about going back deep down there and releasing all of that stuff. And, it's like, I call it the deconstruction process. And this is a lot of what I teach is going back into your childhood, finding all of those limiting beliefs that you're still functioning from, but they no longer serve you, right? So for example, where maybe you had a childhood belief that femininity is weak, and that still got programmed in you because maybe you were a girly girl and maybe you got picked on at school, right? Something like that. So that gets programmed in you, and now you may be completely denying your feminine aspects, your feminine essence, because in your root you have this belief system that if you're a feminine woman, then you're weak. Femininity is a full range of flavors. Think of the mother of all femininity, Mother Nature. The divine Mother Nature, is she just sunny and 90 degrees all the time? No, right? She's also tsunamis, she's rain, she's thunderstorms, she's windy. Sometimes she's all sunny skies, and at other times she's storming, she's hailing, she's snowing down on you, she's giving you an earthquake. So she expresses all forms of herself, and it's there's an allowing of what is. That is femininity, right? It's not about I'm gonna wear makeup and wear dresses all the time now, or now I'm not gonna curse, or now I'm not gonna speak up, right? I often get students and clients in my programs that are coming from other like femininity books or systems and coaches, and one of the things that is immediately kind of a pattern for most of these people is that they found femininity through some of the popular books out there or popular coaches, which is great, but then they lock themselves up as this like rigid, poised, can't speak up version of femininity, and before they know it, their partners either got them in extreme debt or became abusive or did things that weren't necessarily like out there crazy, but now they don't know how to speak up. They don't know how to have a say in their relationship, down to they don't know how to order their own meals because they think it's unfeminine to make a decision at a restaurant, or let your partner know that you will be handling the finances until he becomes financially literate, or calling your partner out on inappropriate behavior because they think that's unfeminine to do so. So that is definitely not femininity. Your femininity is you showing up authentically, you in the moment, minus your traumas. So this is the important part. if you think that you don't have to do your inner work and you're going to show up authentically, and your authentic feeling right now is to yell at someone, lash out at someone, be inappropriate, that's your wounds, that's not your soul, right? I have just in the last couple of years worked with really expensive high-end mentors myself. Like, I was the one being mentored, and it's been shocking to see that these really high achieving, brilliant at what they do, owning their craft, successful women have these huge emotional outbursts, completely unprofessional, lashing out. I had a coach curse at me on an audio message. Just in you're like, whoa, okay, that also is not femininity, right? That's someone that can't control their emotions. They haven't mastered emotional intelligence, which is such a key to success and happiness. They've actually found this in research now, that your emotional intelligence, your EQ, is a much better, higher indicator of your overall success, happiness, and joy in life than your intelligence, right? But most of us are trying to run the show from our logical, rational thinking, because that's how we've been conditioned. So being emotionally intelligent means that you're doing your inner work, you're aware of your emotions, you know how to move them through you in a positive way. This doesn't mean that you turn the emotion into positive thinking necessarily. Sometimes sadness needs to come out as sadness. Sometimes grief needs to come out as grief. But you don't wrap those things up and throw them at your partner or at your client or at your child. You don't lash out. You don't, do these things that are just inappropriate and abusive in nature. So it's really becoming emotionally current through doing your inner work. Some people think that there's no way to become emotionally current. This is completely incorrect. If you are not emotionally current, you're still living in the past, you still have more inner work to do. It's a process, it's a journey, and welcome that and allow that to take its natural unfolding. But there will come a time, I promise you, where you will be able to show up in your authentic self in the moment and let the emotions of this moment be what you're expressing, versus getting triggered by something that's happening now and going immediately in the past. So that looks like maybe your partner said something and you immediately go into, I'm not worthy, I'm abandoned, because that's what your past has been like, right? So let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to reveal to you the card that I pulled for you guys. And we can also talk a little bit about feminine communication. First, what I want to say is feminine communication is not about not being able to speak up. Feminine communication is not about, I only have to speak in feeling sentences now. How exhausting and lame does that sound, that you can only use certain language? I use a full range of colorful, beautiful language. Sometimes I'm demure and polite. Sometimes I curse like a sailor. Sometimes I'm somewhere in between. Sometimes I'm activated. Sometimes I'm polite and shy and quiet. I get to express all parts of my femininity, and this is what your family, your partner, your career, your soul requires of you. That's what it like most desires of you, right? How boring would it be for a masculine energy partner to be in a relationship where you were always just one way? Right? When we think of men like variety, it doesn't necessarily mean they like a variety of women. They like a variety of flavors, and this could be coming from the same woman, right? You can be embodying all of the flavors. And even if you're single, the truth is, don't you wake up different? Sometimes you are lazy and passive and relaxed, right? And at other times you're like motivated and activated and you want to get stuff done. Sometimes you're an earthy, wild woman kind of lady where you want to dance and you want to walk barefoot on the soil. That's me every day, every morning. I love that. You just want to be wild. And sometimes you're very elegant and you want to dress up and put your hair up in a fancy bun and do your hair really fancy. Like, how boring and exhausting would it be to be like locked into only being like, you have to be like this all the time? Like, it's confusing to men too when you just show up as like this really weird statue, one type of flavor, when the essence and definition of femininity is flow. So everything that is human nature, everything that is nature, mother nature, is flowing through you, right? This is going to look different in different. The only way that you could like mess this up is if you learned one way of being and thought, okay, this is femininity and I'm going to lock myself in here and this is how I'm going to show up every single day. Forget about other people. You'll find yourself, your soul going, help me out of here, liberate me. This is exhausting. I want to do me. Your authentic, your soul, chances are, has lived lifetimes as a male, has lived lifetimes as a female, as a plant, as an animal, as planets. And so it's got a full range of stardust and fairy dust and plant dust and in masculine energy and feminine energy and everything in between. It's got all different flavors that want to be expressed through you. And you get to do that in a healthy, emotionally current way on this planet, right? So great. We're getting a lot of. Should I reveal the card first or take your comments? Let's see. Senna said we'll have to catch it in the replay, putting kids to sleep. Thank you, Senna. I'll see you in the replay. Hi, Elizabeth. I have been there. I was not speaking up, learning it now. Yes, like if you're blocked in your throat, how could your feminine energy be flowing through your body fully in its flow when you're blocked in certain places because you're not allowed to speak up, right? I've even heard of femininity systems where you can't order the meal that you want, where you can't choose the restaurant that you want to go to, where you can't have any say in the finances, where like that's not femininity. Think of why do we call relationships, like why do we call it partnership, right? It's because it's a flow between two people. And so, right, like it's not going to be 50-50, it's going to be reciprocal in nature. But at the same time, how you would exhaust your masculine partner if every answer to his question was, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? You decide, whatever you think is fine. He would love that in the beginning, and then eventually it would exhaust him. And this is what I've seen in my clients is women that are doing that in the dating scene, where they don't make any decisions, have no opinions, end up attracting a partner that has never led anyone before. So he may be kind of in this stage where his masculine energy isn't quite evolved yet. Like he's just in the beginning stages of his masculine journey. Just like we're on our journey, he's on his journey, right? And so that seems really appealing to him. Now what happens is he will propose really quickly, you'll get married really quickly, and then before you know it, you're locked in this dynamic where you can't have any says because you're going to confuse him later when all of a sudden you want to speak up and he's like, I'm in control, I'm in charge, you don't have any opinions, like I choose everything. And that becomes exhausting for you, and it's also going to give your relationship a really odd power dynamic. That's not how relationships have meant to be. That's not how high value men want relationships to be. Here's the thing, and if you're doing this and you end up going on a date with a high value masculine energy man that has done his inner work and he's ahead of the journey, he's going to be really turned off by that. Right? He may like it in certain aspects, like because of the polarity, immediate polarity, but he may even want to have sex with you and want you to hang out for a while, but he's not thinking long-term relationship potential because he realizes that that's going to be an exhausting thing to have to carry the overarching burden of the entire relationship. Like he's it. And you can't make any decisions. A man that wants to build a healthy relationship with you wants someone that he can trust with his children, trust with his wealth, trust that she's emotionally secure and stable, right? That he's thinking long term. And so someone who can't make decisions for herself isn't going to be on his radar. He wants a true partnership, a woman that knows her worth, a woman that knows what she likes and what she makes it easy for him because she knows what she doesn't like. She knows what she likes, right? So that's what he's going to be attracted towards. Onat said, currently trying to learn more about, oops, I think I lost the comment. About femininity, great insight. I agree. Seeing femininity from a set of rules that does not feel great. I want to embody more, right? That's such a good point. I love that you said it doesn't feel great. So that's a really great way to know is that go into your body and say, when I'm thinking of this, does this feel expansive or constricting? Now, here's the thing, and this is a really good exercise. Even if something seems scary because you haven't quite done it and it's like something new, notice that it's scary because it's stretching you. So it's still expansive in nature. Constriction is where you feel trapped, where you feel small, where you feel like you're suffocating, right? That's when you know that's not for you. Like if I had to follow a set of rules, like I could only speak this way, I couldn't curse, I couldn't speak up, I couldn't do X, Y, Z, I couldn't call my partner or my friends out when they were out of alignment. That feels very constricting to me, right? Versus, let's say I find a new flavor of femininity and I'm looking at it and I'm excited about it. Now it's a little scary because I've never quite done it. It still feels like it's stretching me. It's still like expansive, even though I'm a little scared because I haven't quite mastered this and it's outside of my comfort zone. So check in with yourself and see, does this feel constricting or does this feel expansive? Feminine Fashionista said, I like that. Does masculinity express itself in a variety of ways too? Such a brilliant question. Yes, yes, and yes. Think of it this way. Why are we attracted to different masculine energies, right? We're attracted to the father type. We're attracted to the bad boy type. We're attracted to the leader, like think Obama, right? Like we're that like really high value masculine leadership. And then we're also attracted to kind of like the husband, great father type. Why is this? Because we want to know as women that the person that we are surrendering to in parts of our lives, right, that it's going to be our partner, can be all of those ranges. Think of it this way. If my partner was only good, clean type of high value masculinity, a part of me would eventually not trust him because a part of me, that animalistic wild woman type of me, part of me would be like, oh my God, if I was ever in a situation where my partner needed to physically defend me, like this is such an animalistic kind of need in us, right? Would he be able to do this? Like think of the hunter, right? Where as we've evolved, think of the cave women and the cave man. Like there's a bad boy, I can rustle a tiger to the ground, right? Kind of vibe there. There's a part of that that we crave. And this is why when women marry like the really nice guy, high value masculine energy man, and if he's not in touch with his bad boy range, sex will become really boring because during sex, during intimacy, you want some of that animalistic, raw, dark masculine energy to come through. That's the part of him that's gonna just want to take you and rip your clothes and rip your soul open, right? That's the part that takes your intimacy, your sexuality to a whole nother level. And he desires that from you too. Think of it. If I was just like, hi, I'm feminine. Hi, yes, thank you very much. If this was my only flavor, like, you know, I can play that flavor. I can pretty much play any flavor now. I've been working at this for a while. He would like that on a date or two. And then maybe he would like that in the first 3 months of our marriage when we're having great sex. And then after that, it's like, if this is the only flavor that I'm bringing to my range, well, boring. Like especially if you've been married for a long time. I'm going on, this is 11 and a half years for us. Like when you're having like the honeymoon forever after type of relationship, you're gonna wanna bring different energies to your relationship, to the way that you parent, to the way that you have sex with each other, to the way that you talk to each other. I change my flavors quite often based on what my soul is looking to express that day. And that's where the relationship stays really juicy and really authentic too. Because some days I'm quiet because that's what my soul feels like doing. And some days I'm a tigress because that's what my soul is expressing at the time. And that's a turn on range too, because that's me. That's authentically me. I'm not trying to be anything. That's not true, right? So that was a great question, fashionista. Men have range too, and women desire that range. Elizabeth said, how do you speak up your boundaries in a feminine way? So you are authentic to how you're feeling. You process it first so that it's not traumatized or wounded from the past. And then you communicate them without like throwing it on someone else. So for example, let me give you an unhealthy way. An unhealthy way of expressing your boundary would be, you always do this to me. It doesn't feel good to me. You have to cut this out. My ex did this to me too, and it made me feel this way. You're so insensitive. Like you're throwing it on him. You're involving your past. And even though you may be using some feeling sentences in there, his nervous system is feeling like he's going on the defensive, right? He's feeling attacked. You're bringing in all kinds of stuff to it, right? And a healthy way of doing that is processing this and saying, why do I get triggered by this? Is this a healthy boundary? Do I need to enforce? Am I bringing in some past trauma into this? I may release it, journal about it, meditate on it, and then, talk to my partner about it in a way of that, this doesn't feel good to me. Could we try something new? How would that make you feel? And you'll learn that when it's like something that's like a mutual thing, when you're just trying to find another way. Irfan and I like to like call things experiments too, because it's very kind of like easy. If calling something an experiment also makes us think that there's going to be an out if it doesn't work for either one of us, right? So then you can, it's like a conversation that you're having. Most of the time you're like, think about it, your man lives, dreams, breathes, most men, right, to make you happy, unless there's some wounded energy coming in from one or both sides. So when you let him know in a way that's not blaming him, but just letting him know about your preferences, he's going to be more than happy to do it, more than happy. So processing the stuff and making sure you're not bringing in your exes, your parents, all the story behind what you want him to do. It's too much, okay? I love that. Thank you, Feminine Fashionista said. Love that. Shreya said, hi, Mina. I'm embodying the High Value Worthy Woman program. Thank you. Forever grateful. I'm so glad. And for anyone that really wants to jumpstart that journey, I have the link to the High Value Worthy Woman Ascension program in the description box. You can get started. There's a ton of content in there that will really get you on the right path of becoming emotionally current. So before I came on here, I set the intention and I did a little card. I pulled a card for us, and I got the goddess Parvati, and she is the goddess of devotion. And I feel like that's so appropriate for this topic. So it says, I am a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves, right? So what this means is that you are committed in every moment to the devotion of your soul, to the devotion of love. And so sometimes this means setting high value boundaries, because boundaries are the most loving thing you can do in that moment. Sometimes that means going back and healing your inauthentic self, your wounds and your traumas, which are not you. They've just been layered onto you, and that's what you're devoted to. Sometimes you're devoted to uncovering different, more ranges and flavors in you. And one of the ways you can really do this is by embodying the frequencies of different goddesses, of different frequencies. I have 4 frequencies that I've shared with you: the basic babe, self-aware Barbie, $1,000,000 babe, and high-end divinity. You can also do this with, if you watch a movie and there's a character in there, and maybe this woman has a frequency that you haven't embodied yet. She has a range. You can breathe that in. You can learn to embody that. You can say, yes, please, I'll have that. I would like to embody that frequency too. Maybe you meet a woman at work or a friend or someone in your life, and she's got a range or a flavor that you haven't quite embodied yet. you can invite that in. You can breathe that in. You can activate that within yourself, because it's just energy, and energy is something that you can breathe in. It's something that you can invite into your frequency. So I think the goddess Parvati is a really great companion and frequency for us to take on this journey, that we're devoted to our soul's evolution, we're devoted to our inner work, and we're really highly devoted to unraveling the parts of us that have been tied up and knotted up, and those are not authentically us, right? So I'm doing another free masterclass as well, the Million Dollar Babe, which I run almost every week. And so you go to my website, theuniverseguru.com. I have the next live date listed on there. And you can sign up through my mailing list, and you will get, right now if you sign up, you get a link to the old masterclass, and then you will also get an invitation to the new one. So in this masterclass, I will be sharing with you all of the frequencies that are the consciousness frequencies of the modern day woman, and how to evolve through those processes. And again, be compassionate and gentle with you. It is a journey. It's a unfolding process. Ona said, wow, thank you for pointing that out. Great. Bliss said, is there any feminine way of expressing anger and frustration? Yes. So the healthy way, whether you're masculine or feminine, is to express it out and have someone witness it, right? So if you're a woman, this is how I do it. This is exactly my process. If I have anger showing up or frustration showing up, I will let my family know that I'm going to go meditate, and I close my door. I have my office here. This is my sacred space. I close the door. I might play some music. I may not, depending on what I'm feeling at the moment. And I will sit down quietly, and I will have that emotion come up however it wants to. If I want to scream, I'll scream. If I want to dance, I'll dance. If I want to punch a pillow, I'll punch a pillow. If I want to journal, I'll journal. If I want to color, I'll color. I'll let it come out, and I will witness it in a healthy, sacred container. And that's it. You sit there, whether it takes you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you let it out. Now, if it's something that's like a big trauma for me, which I've had to go through, like childhood sexual abuse, then I will hire a coach or a mentor, and then I will express it while they're watching me. This is an important part of the feminine. Feminine emotions and the way that we have evolved we used to have really tight feminine communities, tribes, right? This is why women were burnt at the stake, because men felt threatened by that, and felt like that they were doing witchcraft or doing things they weren't supposed to be doing, because they seemed so magical and powerful. So the way we have evolved is that when a woman was going through something, she would share with her sisters. And it wasn't this toxic kind of sharing that you see these days, where they're stuck in the story, they're making each other feel bad, they're being miserable together. But it was like she would share and unleash it, talk it out. It would be maybe a 5, 10, 15-minute thing. And her sisters would quietly, with love, just witness her. And then that would be it. It would be gone. It would be released. I've seen people with 15, 20, 30-year traumas heal themselves in one session. And I didn't even know that that would happen. Like, I told my clients, hey, it takes time. Sometimes might be 4 sessions, 8 sessions. They came on one session, released it, cried it, really let it out. And I just held that sacred space for them. And that was all they needed, the one session. So make sure that you have someone that can do that. The problem is we choose friends and family members that are not equipped, because they haven't done it. So when we're expressing our anger or frustration, instead of holding the container, they will try to get us to end it. Oh, you shouldn't be feeling that way. Think positive, or I'm sure he meant well, or we'll stop crying here now. Right? They block your flow of the natural release, and they're uncomfortable with it. They can't quite witness it. That's why when a child is crying, right, I will often advise parents, stop for 1 second and let them really release it, because you don't know what they're releasing. If you jump in immediately and start hugging them and start telling them to stop crying, you may break their process. Yes, you want to hug your child and you want to comfort them, but watch and let the thing unfold. Hold that space of love and allow your child to release what they need to release, okay? So when we experienced this last year when Alina started kindergarten, she had never been outside the home anywhere, even for an hour. It was always just with me and Irfan. And so she would come home and just cry over little things. And I told her brothers, it's not about that thing. She's just releasing things that she might have seen or experienced at school. So, they wanted to just comfort her and hug her and give her the thing. But it's like, do that afterwards, but let her release the emotion, love her, hold that space for her. So this is what we need to do. And a lot of times the friends that we choose end up doing more damage because they end up cutting our flow versus just holding that sacred container. Wow, you're so amazing, such an inspiration. Thank you, Joy. I appreciate that. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. So ladies, make sure that you have signed up for the free masterclass happening next week at theuniverseguru.com, and also check out the high value Worthy Woman Ascension program. This program will take you back into figuring out what has been running the show, how you can start changing your perception of the reality that you have created. It's kind of an unmanifesting process, so then you can manifest what you desire. It's really deep inner work. There's tons of content in there. Take your time, allow the journey to unfold, the process to unfold. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.